So as you can tell from the title of this video, you have got to stop making peace with toxicity, especially when it comes to work. Hi, I'm Dr. Sasheen, author, teacher, educator, and expatriate from the hustle and grind of higher education. And I'm talking to you today about why you don't need to make peace with toxicity any longer. It is not necessary for you to make peace with the things that have made your work, your life, unbearable because it's so toxic. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you what else you could be doing as opposed to trying to make peace with an environment that's literally sucking the life out of you. So if you're a Black woman or a woman of color and you're in professions that have been causing you anxiety, where you're feeling undervalued and underappreciated and you are headed down the fast lane to burnout, this video is for you. So stay tuned. All right, so there's a lot of talk about making peace. And as women of color, Black women here, that's me, Black women and women of color have to often make a lot of peace with the microaggressive nature of American businesses. And for those of you who are not Black women, this is not about you. For those of you who are not women of color, this is not about you. And yes, I distinguish between the two groups. What ends up happening is that we endure a lot of microaggressive behavior around our person and our form, because in the work environment, it's just expected that we're going to keep the peace. And the reason the expectation is that we're going to keep the peace is, number one, you get paid a lot of money. So when you're in a profession where you're on salary and you're hired and you're contracted in to do a service, teaching, lawyer, engineer, doctors to some extent, depending on how they work, if they're in hospitals or if they're private practice. But when you're a contract employee, basically, you're still an employee. Still an employee. When you're a contracted employee, it comes with an expectation that the soup of the work environment is something that you're going to learn how to swim in, because we're going to give you a lot of money, or at least a decent amount of money to begin with. And we're going to dangle the carrot over here that it'll become better and better and better money as you continue to endure some of the crap we're going to put you through. And so because the money is so good, and usually we're starting out, we've got these huge student loans, right? We spend so much time, effort, energy, and attention just to get the darn degree, to get in there, get the degree, and now we want to put it to work because we need to recoup some of our losses. And the return on our investment has got to be substantial. So we take the money and we're like, okay, I'm going to race up the ladder and it's going to be fantastic. And many of us do race up the ladder, but what we have to endure to get up that ladder becomes almost impossible to take after a certain length of time. So sorry, there's something flying over here and I'm trying to look down here, but it's distracting me. Go away, little bug. So as we race up the ladder, earning bonuses depending on the profession that you're in, or getting better billing hours or things of that nature, we are also enduring a lot more toxic work environments. We understand microaggressions. If you have gone to college, you've probably taken a class or two about it, or at least that have had the concept come up. But let me tell you what it looks like in real time. It's being the manager of your team, but being undercut by your superiors because they second guess constantly your decisions, or they don't some of your other counterparts. It's being passed over for the next promotion because you don't have quite enough experience or quite the right connections that you can't really get because there's no one there to mentor you. Everyone else gets mentored, but somehow you're just different enough that we can't find a mentor for you. And it's those little microaggressions that make a work environment very toxic and hard to endure. And so what we are telling each other is that, but the money, like $120,000 a year in some professions, let's be really real. In academics, that starting salary of between 55 and 65, depending on where you are, sometimes even less than that, it ain't worth it. Though, honey, listen, it's not worth it, but I'll get to that in another video. So let's say you're starting at 60, somewhere between 60 and 120, depending on your profession. That's supposed to be the honey in the pot of all that you're going to endure. That's supposed to be the sweetener in your coffee that's going to continually get you up at 6 a.m. in the morning or whatever to get into that 2-hour commute into work. That's going to be, the grill marks on that lovely steak that you can smell. It smells so good. That's going to convince you that the steak's not rancid and that it was actually last year's steak that someone's trying to serve you. And it's okay that you got the smallest office or the broom closet. That's okay, because you're in this environment now. We're all in this together. And it's completely okay that your colleagues have zero interest in who you are and what you do, and that you only get the cursory indoctrination into the firm or the department or whatever. That's okay, because those toxic elements are just part of how we're supposed to play the game, because we got in the door, right? And it's being in the door, and the money is supposed to make it all worthwhile. Because remember, student loans, all that time, multiple degrees, gotta make it worthwhile. And so instead of calling a thing, which we're trained not to do, especially women of color. You're trained to not rock the boat because, hey, listen, you're making a way for somebody else. So you need to get in there and just keep your head down and just do it, because you got to keep making it so that others coming behind you can also get their foot in this door. What happens if the door, what do you do if you're just tired of the door slamming on your foot all the time? If the toxicity over how you wear your hair, the clothes that you choose to wear, the colors that you choose to put on your body or your lips are always the topic of conversation. What do you do when you realize that you are being passed over for juicy assignments, for plum scheduling, for increased billing hours or increased business exposure because, well, we're just not sure you're ready. And yet there's no one there to help you get ready because there's no one there who looks like you, who's been put in a position to help you. How many hours do you have to endure that? How much can you make peace with the fact that you're in an environment that is blatantly undervaluing who you are? Now, I want to speak to a statistic that, people like throw on stats. We love stats. We love stats. We love stats. Women of color, Black women of color, make up such a small percentage in some professions that it's very easy to say, listen, you got in the door. So whatever you have to do to keep that door open for the next one coming after you, that's your duty. And to that, I want to say, nope. That kind of toxic environment that you have to go into for a profession that you've studied for, that you love, but that is literally showing you in no uncertain terms that they would much rather treat you like crap, when that profession that you love can be gotten to in a different way. Now I want to talk to you about why you don't have to make peace with a toxic work environment. So I'm not actually telling you that you need to become an expatriate from the hustle and grind of your profession, per se. I am, but I'll get to that in a second. What I am telling you is you need to start thinking about whether or not you're hustling and grinding for the right reasons, because the money's not going to sustain you. And those student loans are going to get paid down. But the mental and emotional labor that you are enduring just to keep a door open for somebody who might come through it, that has to stop. We as a culture have glorified the idea that if we hustle hard enough, we can break any barrier. Remember when Barack Obama was first elected president, how, just debonair that man looked, that head full of beautiful black hair and that beautiful skin, those clear eyes. Remember what he looked like 8 years later? That salt and pepper looks very good on him. But in 8 years, we watched that man age before our eyes. And we watched him age before our eyes with the understanding that we will have to fight like hell to get a second Black president, though we are working on it. But we will have to fight like hell to get that shot again. Should we not take that shot? Of course you should. But I'm not talking about you running for president of the United States. I'm talking about you trying to become partner in the law firm. I'm talking about you trying to become senior accountant at a firm that literally passes you over for the most plum assignments. I'm talking about you trying to keep the door open in environments where they are still talking about how your hair is unprofessional, even though that's against the law now. I'm talking about you trying to get by in places where people sabotage actively your work, not only sabotage, but will steal your ideas and expect you to keep quiet because it's the environment and you're a part of it and we're all in this together. We're a team. And yet you get no recognition for your part in the team. I'm talking about those professions, and you know exactly the ones I'm talking about. And I'm talking about taking what you know and creating your own way. In fact, I'm talking about pivoting in such a way that you reclaim your joy in the space that you've worked and studied so hard for. Why on earth would you make peace with a toxic work environment that has set out to show you it doesn't want you? Why on earth would you want to continue to stay in a place that makes it abundantly clear on a fairly regular basis that if you just left, we would not miss you? As one of my favorite YouTubers has said, and I completely agree with this, those jobs are not loyal. You are loyal to people who are not loyal to you. So what could you be doing? Oh, so many things. expatriate from the world from the hustle and grind of higher education, because the publish and perish train was not my idea of a good time. I'd rather write novels, so that's what I do. What is it that you love to do? What is it that all that schooling and education and time, effort, attention that you put into this grind, what else could you be doing with it? What's your dream? Where did you see yourself, and did it look like this? And if it did, are you certain that this is where you want to be? Where is it that you find your joy? Because so many of us that are in the hustle and grind culture of our professions have lost our joy. We have lost the sense of who we are, and we have a sense of urgency, not because we're happy and we're trying to get up the ladder, but because we feel like if we don't keep grinding and keep that door open, then they might close it behind us, and the next person who wants to get in is going to have to fight twice as hard, and then. Where's the sense of urgency for your mental health? Where's the sense of urgency for your happiness? Where is the sense of urgency for your life to be meaningful to you first? I talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs a lot because that comes up in a lot of conversations about the things we have to do in order to be happy first. And at the bottom is always safety and security, shelter, food, clothing. And at the top is a self, is the realization of who we are. And I'm telling you that pyramid needs to be inverted. If you're going to follow Maslow, great, but turn that sucker upside down, because the first thing that needs to matter is yourself. Because sister, you paid the dues. You've paid the dues already, because if you were being appreciated and valued in the space that you've worked so hard to get into, then you would not be watching this video. But somewhere inside of you right now is a voice going, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. And what I really wanted to do was take all of this excellent education that I have, and I really want to go do this over here. I wanted to start my own business, but I was told that I couldn't. I wanted to take this education and change the world, but I was told that that's not a job. I wanted to take all this that I love, these ideas that I had, and I want to turn them into this invention. But I was told nobody pays for inventive Black women to do anything. They pay for us to go to work. What could you have done if you weren't being forced into where you are now? In my program, The Magic of Starting Over, I talk about that. I help you figure out where you need to be at this point in your life. Not where you should be, not where you've been told to be, not where your education has placed you, but where you desire to be. And I help you work out how to get there by breaking down that Maslow's pyramid, flipping it on its head, and showing you to start with the self first. Let's work our way up, okay? Because we already know what's at the top. That safety, security thing, we got that. But our self has been left behind. So when you get on the phone with me for an hour, the first hour, we'll talk about whether I can help you. I'm not going to blow smoke up your behind. If I can't help you, then I'll tell you that I can't help you. But what I do know is this. There is a reason why making peace with your work is the last thing that you want to do. There is a reason why trying to make peace with the microaggressive behavior of your upper management is not what you want to do anymore. And there is a reason why there's a siren song to something else that you've been ignoring because you feel like, well, but what will people think? And I'm here to tell you, that don't matter. It doesn't matter. You deserve better, and I'm here to show you how to get there. So this has been Dr. Sasheen. The link is below. If you want an hour of my time, that's how you get it. Otherwise, look yourself in the mirror today and ask yourself very simply, am I making peace with toxicity because I want to remain toxic? Because if the answer to that is anything other than no, then baby, you need therapy. That's it for today. Talk to you later. Bye.